Artemis Toast here. Another all kinds of awesome trademark album review or recommendation, whatever you want to call it. In the past, it's pretty obvious that I like prog rock. Then I kind of stepped away for a couple other all kinds of awesome album reviews that were more concentrating on the writer, producer, performer, someone that takes every role, writes the music, records the music, performs the music. Today, what I'm concentrating on, with Simon and Garfunkel, is the singer-songwriter. The not necessarily folk music, definitely folky vibes, when talking about this particular album, which, by the way, is, the concert in Central Park. It's a live album, which, to be quite honest, a majority of, all these songs sound better live, when compared to the studio versions. Sometimes when they're stripped down, at least for me, it really, resonates with the song itself, the content, the structure. Sometimes, when you're talking about singer-songwriters, the lyrics are very important, a very intricate part of the composition, because it is so stripped down and simple. And obviously the voice, vocal range and inflection. Typically when talking about singer-songwriters, you're not talking about, a duo, but we're talking about this album today, which is all kinds of awesome. Paul Simon is a fantastic songwriter. Multi-award winning. I mean, he has the accolades, to back it up. He amazing songwriter once again. Even his solo work, Graceland was a fantastic, all kinds of awesome album. I own it. I'll definitely have to review it sometime. But back to this particular album. This was recorded September 19th, 1981, in Central Park. It's hard to see. Fantastic turnout. There's lots of fantastic tracks on this. They're known for so many hits, man. I can't even. I mean, pretty much, all four sides of this double album are hits. If they're not well recognized, they're still written by, in my opinion, one of the greatest singer-songwriters, Paul Simon. I know that Art Garfunkel had, and forgive me, I don't know which songs, belong to who or who contributed what to what song. But primarily, I know that Paul Simon was the main songwriter, and he's responsible for the creation of a lot of their well-known songs. But Mrs. Robinson, great song. Homeward Bound, one of my personal favorites. Being a roadie for over 100 bands, being the world's greatest guitarist. I can relate to the story that Paul Simon is telling on that song. Just talking about touring. Every stop looks the same. It kind of resonates with a roadie or touring musician. Scarborough Fair. Great harmonies in that, which, obviously Paul Simon and Garfunkel are known for the great harmonies. Obviously Garfunkel bringing in the higher notes, and you know, Paul Simon's a great singer too, in my opinion. But the you know, very few duos in pop or rock music are at this level. Their harmonies are great. Let's see, side two of the first album. You also have well, Still Crazy After All These Years is a great tune. Wake Up Little Susie, I'm not sure if that's an original. I want to think it's not. That I think a lot of people have recorded that song, but they do a great rendition of it, if that should be the case. Second album, A Heart in New York. That's another thing. As someone who's visited New York City, great fan of New York City. Just love being there. Paul Simon being from New York City, and writing his songs and telling those stories from, whatever point of view it may be, whether it may be a personal story that he's telling, or a created character from their point of view, whatever it may be. It's very New York. This is a great album to listen to before you go to New York, when you're in New York, or actually anytime. Going back to this, Bridge Over Troubled Water, Kodachrome, fantastic song. 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, that's a pretty groovy song. The Boxer, man, that's one of those songs that once again tells a great story. Maybe it's Paul Simon's personal story. Kind of not letting life get you down, continuing to fight, kind of one of those, like, no matter what happens, I'm still standing kind of stories, or it's one of those things that you could personalize, however you want to, which is another great thing about Paul Simon's songwriting is, they might be first person from his point of view, but they reach people. And then the obviously the last song closing out this, all four sides of this double album, The Sounds of Silence. Many different renditions of this. There's even a recent cover by that band Disturbed. I listened to it. Everybody's entitled to their opinions, but the original, and actually this particular version, which isn't the album version, the version of Sound of Silence on the concert in Central Park, is all kinds of awesome. Once again, great songwriting, Simon and Garfunkel. Highly recommend that you listen to their songs. Highly recommend listening to it front to back. Since this is a compilation, you can listen to it in any order that you really want. I usually recommend that you listen to an album in its intended order. Even with a live album, because I'm sure they had a big part in the order of the set list. Obviously they're performing it. Once again, another all kinds of awesome album review. Simon and Garfunkel, the concert in Central Park, live album. Artemis Toast, out.